Hello and welcome to the Canmore Town Council candidate interviews. This morning I'm here with our current mayor, Sean Krausert. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Sean was elected mayor of Canmore in October 2021, having previously been elected to council twice. He and his spouse Janet have lived in Canmore since 1996 and they have raised their family here. Sean's professional experience includes being a lawyer, a social justice advocate, and in business having held various executive level positions in not-for-profit, for-profit, and in the private sector. Let's get started. Sean, how do you plan to continue to balance Canmore's growth with preserving its small town character and surrounding natural areas?
Yeah, that's a good question, and really it takes a multi-pronged approach. Of course, it's important for all of us, those who live here as well as those who visit, that we have that authentic mountain town community feel. Nobody wants to go to the city in the mountains, you know, but we are growing, and we do have to make sure that we do so in a way that doesn't lose our essence. So that multi-pronged approach involves environmental. Here we're looking at making sure that we respect the corridors which are set by the province, and we do so by requiring environmental impact statements for anything that's adjacent to a sensitive area, such as corridors or habitat patches. And for the most part, we follow the Bow Corridor Environmental Advisory Group recommendations from some years back. We also have to make sure that we preserve our natural areas, and to that end, we are doing a lot of wildfire mitigation work. And with doing that work, we're not only protecting our community, but we are protecting our surroundings and the habitat that's around us. And in fact, with the community wildfire fire guard that is being built, it actually enhances habitat for animals. We also want to make sure that through that small town feel, we capture what is the essence of our community. And so we put in place things like the engineering, design, and construction guidelines that outline how buildings are to look and be finished, as well as land use bylaw sets out a number of requirements as to heights and densities to make sure that we're not, getting 10-story buildings or having things that really don't fit. And probably the biggest thing to maintain, let's say, the downtown area as being a vital commercial zone in the heart of the community is that for a long time now, Council has stood firm that we do not allow big box stores.
Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you. And what strategies will you support to manage tourism so it benefits our economy without overwhelming local infrastructure or housing availability?
Right. So, here we're talking about the downtown development and commercial districts. Is that right? Is that what you're looking at?
Really, that one will come next, or
Okay.
along the lines of this interview. But really, where our town needs tourism, it also tends to change the life for the residents. How do we keep the balance?
Yeah, well, it is an important balance. And to that end, there was a tourism task force that was struck in 2020. I wasn't mayor at the time, but I was appointed to it. It came out with a report in 2021. And it was very important that there was overarching themes such as environmental protection, proper recognition and reconciliation with respect to neighboring Indigenous communities and the traditional holders of these lands. And now that has now morphed into an action plan put out by Tourism Canmore Kananaskis called the Regenerative Tourism Action Plan. And by regenerative tourism, we're not talking about just not doing harm. We're about making sure that there's protection in place as well as things that will enhance environment, economy, and community. So with that plan now being placed for 2025 to 2027, which TCK is taking the lead on, but the town will have a role to play to make sure that we are working towards that balance and not looking to disrupt what we have. And it's also very important that we advocate to the province. There is extra infrastructure that is needed when you have many visitors to town. You need more wastewater infrastructure. Your roads and your trails and your sidewalks need to be a higher fit and finish. We have more garbage to collect. All of those sorts of things are additional infrastructure that a town of like size somewhere else that doesn't have visitors wouldn't have to deal with. So those are the sorts of things that we need to have responsible tourism that supports our economy, because so many people live and are make a living from visitors coming, whether that be retail, restaurants, hotels, experience providers. But we want to make sure that the people that live here have a good quality of life as well.
Great. Housing affordability is a very hot topic here in Canmore. What solutions would you propose and support to increase the supply of affordable and workforce housing for our local residents?
Yeah. This is something that the current council and administration has been focusing on a lot. The fact is, nothing introduced into our market remains affordable past the first owner or two. And we've tried lots of different things. I mean, we're talking about different sizes. We're talking about, we have manufactured homes, how the land is organized, how it's sold. Nothing has worked. I mean, we have manufactured homes, and they're beautiful lots, but they're worth $1 million now. Mm-hmm. And when you have the average condo, or the median assessed value of a condo at $900,000 and the median assessed value of a single home at $1.4 million, that's just out of reach of the average person. So in order to address that, we need to have more and more non-market rental and ownership units. Now, this takes a little time to get going, but this council has done a lot to get that going. We've had our Palliser Trail area structure plan that allows for 1,300 units of new housing, of which a minimum 75%, so about 1,000 units, have to be non-market. We've also had approvals with regards to the Spring Creek Manor, the Canadian Rockies Public Schools housing, of which 1/3 of that is going to be non-market. We have Ptarmigan Point, which is 18 ownership units. 100 Palliser has just broken ground. That's going to be 144 units. We have the Mustache Lands are going to produce, right across the street from 100 Palliser, is going to produce about 270 units. So what we really have coming in the very near future is about over 500 units of non-market rental that will be on the market within a couple of years. And between what is already built, what is being built, and what's about to break ground soon, we will see this council has set the foundation for a 260% increase in the non-market homes compared to when we started the term.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little about public infrastructure.
Okay.
Most of Canmore's infrastructure, especially underground infrastructure beneath Main Street, some of our water systems and roads, are aging in need of improvement. How would you prioritize investments in the roads, trails, water systems, and public transportation? Yeah,
so there's already a system in place to do that. We have an asset management system within the town of Canmore, and particularly involved in the departments of Public Works and Engineering. Public Works looks after utilities and the infrastructure that supports utilities, and engineering does things like roads and trails. And so basically they know the age of everything, they know its lifespan, they know when it needs to be fixed. And so then they prioritize those. Within utilities, the amounts that we need in reserve to pay for them are calculated and part of our utility payments that we pay. Within engineering, we know when roads need to be replaced or trails, and then they have a priority level at which we can apply reserves that we are, tucking away money to pay for things going forward. Typically, obviously, you replace infrastructure, particularly underground stuff, before its life is over, and then you time the road and any trail improvements to coincide with that. So if you recall when Bow Valley Trail this summer there was some work done going up towards the hospital and into Teepee Town. There was underground work that had to be done first. When the intersection of A&W was done, there was underground work that had to be done first. With Railway Avenue coming up, it's really driven, the timing is about the underground work that needs to be replaced. And then you do on top the improvements to that. So that's how we deal with aging infrastructure.
Great, great. Our downtown core is really one of the hearts of Canmore. So what is your vision for the future of Canmore's downtown and commercial districts over the next 10 years?
Yeah. So here's the downtown question that I had asked about. I had made notes based on the order that you provided them, but you're switching them up, so good for you. The downtown core is the heart of the community, right? And we need to make sure that it's protected. And so as far as vision, we just completed the vision. Town Center Area Redevelopment Plan was a multi-year process. It was the largest public engagement process that the town has had with regards to any of their area structure plans. And we had input from literally thousands of individuals. And that provides guidance for what's going to happen in the downtown area over the next 25 years. Some of the highlights include greater access for pedestrians in the summer. We're having, obviously trails and transit and walking paths that will increase the ability for people to get into downtown without a vehicle, because we have very limited space for vehicles. But we're not going to reduce the parking. We made the commitment that the parking will stay with the number it is, and if those lots happen to get redeveloped, there has to be a replacement of that parking in some manner before any redevelopment. We're also looking at the seasonal pedestrianization of, or not looking at it, we've approved the seasonal pedestrianization of Main Street. So just as we've had for the last number of summers, that will continue going forward. We're going to see an expansion of Riverside Park, a protection of Eckloff Park, and also creation of another park just off of Railway. And we're going to maintain, there's going to be a gentle densification, but maintaining generally the heights in downtown areas, so that we're not blocking views or creating great big areas of just shadows.
Great, great.
Oh, I should mention too that with, obviously other commercial districts are really important as well, because as the town has grown, for example, as you go out to Three Sisters, it's a longer ways to come to, let's say, get groceries or banking or whatnot. And those neighborhoods coming into the downtown area for the purpose of grocery shopping and whatnot, that puts pressure on traffic and volumes, number of cars going over the bridge, etc. So it's really important that we develop areas such as the Gateway Commercial District that is being built. I've heard so many people in the area say, I can't wait till we have a grocery store there, right? Mm-hmm. We know that the grocery stores currently downtown are always, very busy, and especially busy on the weekends. And the lots are sometimes hard to find parking. Well, hopefully this will still allow those businesses to prosper while diverting some of that traffic closer to home for many of our residents.
Great, thank you so much for sharing some of this. So far, Canmore has been lucky in terms of wildfires. What climate adaptation or mitigation strategies would you champion to make Canmore more resilient to wildfires, flooding, and other natural risks?
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about what we should do or will do. I'm going to talk about what we are doing, and we're going to continue it if I'm reelected. We have a climate emergency action plan. Now, this was a replacing and an updating of previous plans to update the goals and make sure that the strategies are best practices and meet our community where it's at now. Of course, we've done a ton of wildfire mitigation work. For close to 20 years, we've been doing fire smart work, which is clearing and thinning different treed areas within the municipality. But there's a whole area around town, as we can see, that is unnaturally thick with forest, and we can't touch that. And so starting in 2023, council, through myself, started advocating to the province. Now this is before Jasper, the tragedy in Jasper. We advocated to the province to start clearing away the fuel that's all around our town, okay? And what came from that was this community fire guard fund, which we have successfully applied to and received lots of funding. We've received through the fire resource funding provided by the province close to $6 million this term. And that is to enhance Fire Smart, to work on our plans, but also to begin construction of our community fire guard, which is going to go all the way around the town. And I'm sure everybody's aware of that. The side benefit of that, as I mentioned a little bit ago, is it also enhances the habitat of wildlife. So when you create these clear areas, because the trees get too thick for wildlife too. A lot of wildlife like edges. And so when you create those edges with a fire guard and open areas, it's actually better for habitat. And you know, we've finished the debris retention structure on Cougar Creek, which is a major accomplishment, and we'll be continuing to work on Steep Creeks. And we're doing you know, a lot of protecting of our key infrastructure. So you know, those are the things that we are doing and will continue to do.
You and your team are busy.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about arts and culture.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the town supporting arts, culture, and recreational opportunities that can strengthen community life?
Well, my family has always been a big supporter of the arts. My wife and son are really talented amateur musicians. My wife being a flautist and my son being a guitarist. And my daughter is a longtime competitive dancer right through university. And I've done a little bit of theatrical and improv stuff in the past. So we absolutely know the importance of arts in the community and support it. So what I would like to continue to do is to support those elements within our community that provide that culture, that the color, the texture within our community. And that's continuing support of like the Canadian Mountain Arts Foundation through Arts Place, the museum, the library, and you know, continuing to support through grants, things like the Folk Music Festival. And when the Canada Day Parade Committee dissolved in the last few years, the town stepped in and picked that up to continue the Canada Day Parade. So these are the sorts of things that we would continue. As well as that, we also have, you know, some really world-class recreational facilities between Elevation Place, the rec center, and our 2 rinks there, multiple outdoor rinks, tennis courts, pickleball courts, fields, trails, and of course we're very close to the Nordic Center, which isn't within the town municipality, but we get benefit of it. So all of these things make for our community to be a desirable place to live and enhance the quality of life for our residents.
Thank you. They say it takes a village. How will you involve residents in major decisions and make council more transparent and accountable to the community?
Well, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Town Centre ARP, the Area Redevelopment Plan, was an excellent example of widespread public engagement over multiple stages. There was a visioning stage, and then there was a feedback on the vision, then there was some draft ideas that met that vision and feedback on that. Then there was a creation of the plan itself and then putting that out to the community for feedback. And then only then coming to council, and then with council taking a look at having a public hearing, and then council heard through the public hearing various concerns, and we made changes to the plan before it was adopted. So that is an example of excellent public engagement that I would like to see continue. You know, I'd just like to put a little plug in for public hearings. We do read everything that we get and listen to everything that we are told. Whether we follow it or not, that is to be determined based on whatever the issue is, because council always has to act in the best interest of the community as a whole. And that may not always be popular, but it is what our job is. One thing that I implemented the last term that I commit to continuing are mayor Zoom town halls on various issues. And so from time to time, usually it's about every 3 months, having a town hall on a particular topic. There will be a short presentation on that topic, and then opening up to questions on that or anything else. And so they have been growing over time as we're doing them. So I will continue to do those. And I would just encourage also for community to stay informed and be active in looking for opportunities to provide that feedback. So often it's at the implementation stage that somebody has said, well, I didn't get a chance to say anything. Well, the reality is that there was notices in newspapers, there was information often posted on a site, there's the information on our website, there's newspaper articles that all happen beforehand, and people have to pay attention to that as well in order to have your voice heard, because we put those things out in order to hear back from people. And often at the implementation stage, and when the paving is starting, it's too late. Right. So I just, that's my encouragement to people, because we do want to hear what you think.
Thank you. Having been on council before and as our mayor, what are you most proud of?
Okay. I'm going to take my mayoral prerogative here and say two things. Okay, so I am most proud of, first of all, the Palliser Trail ASP, and secondly, the Community Fire Guard. And I'll tell you why. There are two major threats to our town. One, I refer to them as existential threats because they go right to the heart of who we are and our survival as a community. One is, we know what happens with mountain destination towns if left unchecked. And that is eventually all of the housing becomes way out of reach for the average person. Staff soon cannot live in town, and all the staff and employees, they come from out of town to work. That guts community. And we start to see schools have declining enrollment or disappear. We see professionals unable to provide their services. It really changes the community. And so in order to address that, we need more housing that can maintain our workforce and maintain the essence of our community. Basically, allowing those who make a living here to also make a life here. Mm-hmm. And so the Palliser Trail ASP was the first thing that this council brought forward right in the very first budget. We brought it up the list and we said, we need to do this. We've resourced it. And as I mentioned, the Palliser Trail will now, it sets the stage for 1,300 units of housing, of which at least 1,000 will be non-market. And we've got a big need. We've got to have about 2,000 units before in the early 2030s. And so that's going to be a big component, and we're going to continue the work like that to meet that goal. The other existential threat are from natural disasters, especially the greatest hazard that we face is wildfire. And what we have done as a council is not only maintain what was done before, but really upped our game. Plans have been revised, neighborhood fire smart groups have been encouraged. The Community Fire Guard is probably the biggest single work in this regard that we've undertaken. And once again, we advocated for that before the Jasper fire, and we're really at the leading edge in getting Community Fire Guard funding from the province.
Great. And what, if anything, will you bring different to the table should you be reelected?
You know, when you come onto council, there's a big learning curve. And then when you become mayor, there's also a big learning curve on top of that. Well, that won't have to be done if I'm reelected, because that learning has been done, and I'll be able to hit the ground running. I would like to apply some of the learnings that I had. There was two instances in particular that I would like to approach the engagement differently. One was over the paving of the pathway by the river. There was a large outcry from particularly the local neighbors of that pathway that I think I would have liked to have done an engagement on that differently. Not about the decision, but maybe just talking with them, because the decision was made before us and it was going ahead, but looking at their concerns in a different way. And also around the livability tax program, to engage with second homeowners in a different way. Looking back, those are two areas that I'd like to do differently. It may not have changed the outcome, but it may have changed the environment around that discussion.
Great, great. Well, Sean, I cannot thank you enough for being here today. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. You can see all the candidates' interviews on our YouTube channel, CanmoreAlberta.com, and you can learn more about each of the candidates at the upcoming forums. A full schedule is on the Town of Canmore website, and please come out to vote on October 20th. Thank you.